Guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, all day yesterday, we ran the news as it was coming out about this young lady right here. This young lady right here, her name is Kenaya Baker, age 13, from Columbia, South Carolina. May she rest in peace. Ladies and gentlemen, this young lady who went missing last Monday, and 48 hours later, she was found in a vacant house that had caught on fire 15 miles away from where she was last seen at. Now, she had a history of running away, and so did the people that took her life, which is surprising to me because they were, number one, girls, number two, teenagers. A 15-year-old and a 16-year-old are the ones that are arrested and charged with the murder of this young lady right here. In case you didn't see the video I did last night, I'll show you a news article that summarizes what happened, how police were led to the house, and how badly this girl was beaten beyond recognition. Take a look.
The manner of death is not an accident, and this is not a suicide. This is a horrible homicide.
That was Richland coroner Nada Rutherford just a couple hours ago giving a shocking update on the heartbreaking murder of 13-year-old Kenaya Baker. Now tonight, Columbia police say two teenage girls are facing murder charges with potential to be prosecuted as adults in connection to Baker's death. News 19's Victoria Samuels shares what police said happened to this 13-year-old.
Brutal, heinous, vicious, gruesome, monstrous, and disturbing. These are the words I use to describe this murder investigation.
That investigation began Wednesday when a body was found inside a burning home on Cardamom Court. Richland County Coroner Nada Rutherford says DNA and dental records were needed to identify the victim as 13-year-old Kenaya Baker, who had been reported missing earlier this week. Rutherford said that Kenaya had been bludgeoned, stabbed, and burned.
And unfortunately, the description provided of Kenaya Baker was so different, in fact, that even the pictures that they sent of her just did not seem to match up. Due to severe trauma to her head, face, and body, visual identification just was not possible. The manner of death is not an accident, and this is not a suicide. This is a horrible homicide.
Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook announced today that two suspects in the murder were arrested overnight. One is a 16-year-old girl who Holbrook says had been in DJJ custody and had recently removed an ankle monitor. The other suspect is a 15-year-old girl. Holbrook says both of the teens are frequent runaways. Richland's solicitor says based on the level of the crime, they are looking to charge the teens as adults.
But based on what we've seen at this point, it was brutal, it was heinous, it was all of those words the chief used. And we expect, after the review of this information, to petition the family court to prosecute these juveniles as adults because of the heinous nature of what happened.
Police have not announced a motive in the case. In Columbia, Victoria Samuels, News 19, WLTX.
That's the story, a summary of what happened. Girl disappeared on Monday, found Wednesday. Said the girl was bludgeoned, had her face beat in. They couldn't even recognize her. Set on fire. If you looked at the press conference, they said she was where the fire started. So they tried to set her on fire. And I guess the rest of the house started to burn as well. She was burned so badly, couldn't identify her except for dental records. They came in there, they couldn't even recognize her from the pictures they sent. They didn't know what they was looking at. They knew it was a person. But she was so disfigured with her face and the burn she suffered. It wasn't no telling. Took a little while. But I want you to think about this. These are female teenagers, children, female. Do you know how vicious you have to be, hateful, and just frustrated with either life or just the person you dealing with that you're doing something to, where you can stab them, then turn around, beat them to where you cave their face in, and then all of a sudden set them on fire to get rid of the evidence and walk out of a house that you don't own. That was a vacant house. That's another question. How did they even know where this house was? Because for you to do that to somebody that you probably laughed with and joked with multiple times, to turn at the flip of a switch and turn into like just a vicious killer with somebody you was familiar with, it's beyond me. And that's the thing. You cannot tell me there's not hatred that some black folk have for each other. Now you know, a lot of people saying, oh, well, they're not saying who these kids were, if they was black or not. They was black, I guarantee you. Tomorrow, they might show up in court. They're never going to show what these kids look like, but I'm more than sure these was black kids. Either way, it's messed up. It's messed up. All of them was runaways. One of them, the ringleader, the 16-year-old, had a propensity of violence. Last night in the press conference, they said this motherfucker was throwing bodily fluids on people. Already shows she's not a fan of discipline. Took her ankle bracelet off after she was, you know, got in trouble in juvenile court not too long ago. Had a 15-year-old girl with him. And a 16 and a 15-year-old killed a 13-year-old. Why was she even around him? People are attracted to people with similar mindsets, whether it's destructive or not. And in the case of this young lady right here, Miss Baker, it proved fatal. That brings me to this next question before I get out of here. Who actually failed Kanaya Baker? Who failed her? Because for some odd reason, and I don't know, the story's fresh. I don't know if she was in foster care or she was living with parents or relatives. Nobody's come forward to speak about how they felt about this young lady. And I'm sure it'll come out, but I want to know what their relationship was with her and these two other girls, to where she ran off and they was runaways as well. And they all wound up linking together 15 miles away from the house. That make me think they all was together at first and then migrated so out towards that house, which I still don't know how that plays an effect in this. But the viciousness you're seeing nowadays in women and young girls is rival to what you see in men that are psychopathic and sociopaths. And that's the part that's scary. The feminine aspect you're starting to see slowly wane away, to where you're starting to see women doing crazy stuff that had you scared of them. Seriously. And it's like, we was always taught when we was younger not to put your hands on a woman and stuff, because, they had value. But nowadays, man, it's like these chicks now don't care nothing about them being women. They just brutal. That's a hateful crime. And it should be a nationwide, this should get national notoriety. She ran away, and in 48 hours, she's dead, beat beyond recognition in a brutal way. Then this show, they have no value. We already proved they ain't got no value for life. They ain't got value for shit. And proof of that is you was going to burn a house up you didn't own to get rid of remnants of a crime that you committed that you shouldn't have committed. Everybody doesn't have the perfect lifestyle. Everybody doesn't have the perfect life. But one thing we do have as individuals is the ability to self-reflect and change what we don't like. Even if we can't control our situations inward, with reflection, we can change our mind state, and we can start slowly making steps towards the type of person we want to be, the type of life we want to have. She was 16 years old. Other one was 15 years old. 2 to 3 years away from freedom to do whatever you want. And at a young age, this is what they chose to do. Kill somebody that they probably called friend. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's the craziest thing now. Your best friend will be your worst enemy. People that laugh and smile with you or twist your head off like a bottle cap if given the chance a lot of times. Don't understand it. Ain't trying to understand it. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.